ESPN Alamogordo 103.7. Welcome back into the Roundup. And as promised, Coach Brian Schock here with us, and he's also brought along Assistant Coach Cary Stokes is here as well. And like I said, we're going to try to make this a weekly thing going forward, talking with Coach Schock and possibly Coach Stokes as well. And Coach, first off, happy with the effort from the guys last night in the win over Silver?
Yes, we were. I mean, we were. We got what we were after, with the W. I mean, going into the night, we were going to be pleased, walking away with the W. Silver, they were power ranked 16th overall in the state of New Mexico, and power ranking does, it's one of the seeding criteria, so it does affect you, come March. So, we're very aware of who we're playing and the implications, whenever it comes time to seed the state tournament. So, that'll definitely help us. And I think our record right now really isn't very indicative of the team that we are. We lost to number 2 ranked Cleveland. I think Las Cruces was power ranked 4 or 5. Oñate was the top 10, and you have Pius in the top 25. So, we haven't.
There's no bad loss.
Yeah, there's not really a bad loss, I guess. The Pius loss would definitely be the worst. But, right now we got to keep, chugging along day to day.
Well, and you talked about, the culture change and trying to, get things, get the players and everybody invested. And, through, now that we're sitting at the 10-game mark of the season, how do you feel like, in terms of what you're getting from the players and how they look invested in there? Do you feel like you're starting to see the things that you want to see from the kids?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing hard. It's not a lack of effort. I mean, we really haven't had a horrible practice or a horrible game or what. We have moments where we don't do what we need to, and a lot of it is really trying to teach basketball IQ and whatnot. So it takes a lot of time in film work. It takes time in practice where you blow the whistle, you stop action, you go, okay, we could have done this or we could have done that. Probably the biggest thing right now is offensive chemistry, and that it really comes with time, and we haven't had everybody together. Obviously Wellington comes on board right as, the start of the season. We've got Shamar, we've got D, we've got those guys, that played football. We have guys that didn't come all summer. So, I mean, really we're trying to put all of our chemistry together right now while we're playing games. And a lot of the programs around the state, they've been together, they've been intact, and so I mean we look at it that we're going to improve more than most teams around the state. So,
Coach Stokes, I mean, are you seeing, so just from maybe the start of practice in November to this point in the season, or are you kind of seeing some differences with the group and improvement that you would want to see as a coach and see the players making the improvements themselves?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way we're coming together. We're still kind of ironing out some wrinkles, so to speak, but they're not the same wrinkles.
Yeah.
So as long as that's the case, I think come district and playoff time, I think we'll be a team that a lot of teams might not want to face.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that. I mean, the one thing that I keep saying, and Coach Schock will ask you about it as well, but I mean, you guys have a lot of depth. I mean, you guys go 10, 11 deep, game to game, and I got to think that's a huge advantage to be able to sub out as much as you guys can and still be able to keep the offensive and defensive threat level out there as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's hard to prepare for that kind of depth because you never know who's going to be on, and lo and behold, if you run into a team like that when everybody's having a good night, it's just an incredible matchup.
Yeah,
it's hard to match those pieces.
Yeah. Coach, I mean, the rotation, obviously you're trying to work out your rotation and who you want in certain spots, but it seems like it's settling in a little bit that, you have certain times that you're putting certain guys in certain positions, and do you feel like that's starting to get settled out a bit for you?
Yeah, we're kind of getting it figured out. Kind of the key, we try to play fresh. We talk about, playing selfish in different ways, but, playing tired is really selfish whenever, and I love it whenever I see a guy go as hard as they can for, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then they tug on their jersey and they go, "Coach, I need a break." They did their job, for that 2 minutes, and then they're off, and then they're coming back on, and, Silver, they went 6 deep. And, at some point it does wear on the other team. And, right now we tell guys, if you can take care of the ball, if you can D up, if you can rebound, it definitely, makes you more valuable to the team. We've got a lot of situations where we play offensive and defensive on our rotation, where we put a guy in for defense, and then we got a guy coming right in for offense. And, that's kind of a little bit of, there's a little bit of football tactic, right there playing the offensive and defensive end of the ball. And, we're trying to tell the guys on the team, and, it's kind of like a car, and you have different parts that have a specific function, or, and every job is important. And, we're just trying to get guys to embrace their role, and their role may change from night to night. Some teams, they may only have 1 or 2 guys that would make up their motor and make them go. I think we've had 6 or 7 different leading scorers so far this year, and it makes it really hard for an opponent to concentrate on any one guy.
Yeah, I think that you looked at, from having, D, who can score 20 points a game for you, to Wellington that can score 20 points. Amore hasn't had as much on the offensive end the last few games, but he's been doing other things for you guys. Rakim's another one that, he does a lot of different things that, he can score 15 to 20 a night, but he's also in there on the boards, and, he was handling the point at certain, opportunities last night, which is obviously a great thing to have in a guy with size like him.
Yeah, you throw in Bishop, you throw in Gavin, all those guys they've led. We've had I think we've had 3 or 4 different leading rebounders. And the more, the deeper we get, I really want to see us where we give up a decent shot for an even better shot. And once we figure that out, it kind of comes with trial and error, I think we'll get even better as that goes on. Our free throw shooting, we've kind of been Jekyll and Hyde. We've had a couple games where we were over 80%, and then we've had games that we were, sub 50. So, we got to get that ironed out. But our rotation is definitely getting better.
Yeah. And it seems like, I think the biggest thing is, and I know I touched on a little bit earlier about the guys buying in, but that's such an important thing, especially as a new head coach coming in, to know the guys that are into what you're they're buying what you're selling and are interested in making the effort and making that. I got to think as a new head coach, that's a big thing for you over the first few weeks of the season.
Sure it is. And we took a couple losses. We're sitting, I think we're 6-4 right now. Like a 2-point loss, you win that one, and then all of a sudden you're 7-3. You win the other 2-point loss, and you're 8-2. And 1 or 2 games, I think a lot of people go, "Oh, it's early in the year and it's only one game." And whenever you look at the end of the year in March, and the NMAA, they go to seed the state tournament. Record is a criteria. Wins over a district champ. More than likely, Silver City will be a district champ. Not only did it help our record, it's going to help our max prep ranking. It's going to help beating a district champ. Though that really, helps you out at the end of the year. So, we knew what we were playing for yesterday. Going on to Friday, Belen is their power rank number 9, all classes. That includes everybody in 5A, 6A, and then of course you got like Hope, in 4A. And there's good basketball around the state of New Mexico, regardless of class. And Belen, they knocked off Roswell. Roswell was ranked number 1 in 5A, not overall in the state, but we're really looking forward to Friday.
Yeah, there's some big games coming up. Belen, Roswell. Coach, I know one thing that, we've talked about plenty before is, attitude and the kind of makeup of this team. What are you seeing from this group that in terms of, having the mental toughness and having that a little bit of an attitude or a swagger out there? Are you starting to see that develop? Have you seen that from the beginning? What do you see from this group?
Well, I like to tell these guys to kind of have a chip on your shoulder. And on game days, it's kind of like a title fight. You know, I mean, it's one thing if you have a joyous personality or you like to kid around or what have you, but when you know you're about to go 12 rounds with someone, you kind of get a different mindset. And I'm starting to see that settle in on these guys. Yeah. And I'd just like to add one other thing. I think that loss to Pius is going to be something that's really going to help this team down the road. Because the look, that kind of look that we were looking for prior to the game, after you lose a close one like that, when you know you should have won it, that's the look that we're talking about. And sometimes a loss can teach you a lot more than a win.
Something that you can remember. Bus ride home, I'm sure you guys were all, they were all thinking about it and going.
Well, just little things like, what could I have done?
Yeah.
Or one or two plays here or there. And sometimes you have to go into the battle realizing we got to beat these 5 guys and everybody else in that gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to be together and we have to be serious in order to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and Coach, I've seen you before games as well. Both of you guys. You really kind of, that they're, it's a sport. You guys are out there to have fun as a team and things like that. But when it comes down to game time, there needs to be kind of a business-like and taking things seriously and going out there and doing your job, right?
Sure, exactly. We do a lot of work. We do a lot of scout work, getting prepared, trying to have a scout report in hand to the players. We expect them to watch it. We do film work. And, it's really being a student of the game. And, Martha, our bus driver, she kind of laughed when we were headed to Pius, and she goes, wow, it looks like they're getting ready to take a test. So we are.
There you go.
At 7 p.m., every night is really a test. And I give the kids a lot of credit. They're asking questions. They're getting ready in the scout report. And they're really kind of taking on that challenge of being a student of the game. And it doesn't happen overnight, but they're starting to definitely figure it out. They're starting to watch their game and look at it critically and go, okay, what could I, have done better? And I think the big thing is focusing on improvement. And I think they've got an open mind to that, and they're taking criticism. They're going, okay, we can get better. And that's what I really like about, their attitude and demeanor right now.
Yeah, I got to think having them engaged and having them wanting to get better and learning about it as a coach, when you see that, it makes it easier for you to be engaged and be out there and teaching them and things like that, right?
Absolutely. And when a player develops a certain level of maturity where they take criticism as nothing but constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Where they don't look at it like you're jumping on their case at all. It's not even an issue.
Yeah.
And if you've noticed in some of these games, you'll see a guy make a mistake and you'll hear a coach or somebody say baseline or wall up or don't do this or don't do that. And before you finish saying it, you'll see a guy raise his hand and say, that was my bad, I got it.
Yep.
When you start seeing that, they're thinking.
Yeah, and it's the personal responsibility thing, and that makes a big difference, and that certainly is the makeup of a team. That can be a huge difference as the year progresses, for sure. So.